What is going on, YouTubers? Welcome to another video. So, as most of you know, most of my collection is in like its final stages, but there are a few key areas where I'm really trying to perfect it, if you would call it. And one of them is this general TV area. You know, we've seen what Prime 1 has to offer for the Terminator setup. Now, I really want to get dimensions and whatnot, because that'll determine a lot. I also, Godzilla vs Kong is crucial on how much I like it. That will determine if I do Monster vs Godzilla vs Kong below and go through with Kong Bust and potentially even Mecha. But I really want Terminator to go up for PO. I want to see the size and how much I really like it. If it's better than, because it's hard to really tell based off the video and pics how good it will truly be. So I need to see better pictures, pricing, size, and I can determine, is this going to be a top shelf or lower, bottom shelf statue? Because, for the most part, a lot of this stuff, simply can't go like that, can't go down low, nor would I put that down low. I'm not going to put those busts down low, and I mean, this entire line could technically go down low, but these are also some of my best statues. So I don't know if I'm willing to put them down low for Terminator. But I have been considering like a Terminator-ish wall, and I've also been considering a Predator-ish wall. There's a lot of things I have been considering. I really want to know if Prime 1's going to do a Wolf Predator 1/3. I want to see Scar's dimensions, because I really like Scar, and I'd love to get him. I have the Jungle Hunter, I got Berserker on PO, and I like Scar more than I do the P2. I think P2 is by far the worst, not only in terms of costume, but base and switch outs. And it's, for me, probably the worst Predator movie. I absolutely freaking love AVP. And Scar, I don't like his unmasked head too much. I thought it looked terrible. And in general, I thought, in the movie, kind of looked like just guys in suits, sort of like at Comic-Con, didn't look nearly as cool as like Wolf or, I know in general Predators are a guy in a suit, but they didn't try to hide it at all in AVP. Nevertheless, Scar was super badass in that movie, and that movie's phenomenal. So I would love to get him, and I think the statue looks better than the movie. The base is sick. So I've thought, what if I did 2 Predators there and 2 there? Ideally, I'd love 5, but I could do 2 and 2. Potentially 3, depending how big they are. But I could definitely do a Predator where I got Rotunda. And I could definitely do, at a minimum, 2 Predators here, potentially 3. To basically fit them all. Cause, I mean, at the end of the day, I still do want the P2 Predator. It's not like it's a bad statue. It's still freaking amazing. I'm just saying, in comparison to the others, I think it's my least favorite. So I'm going to show you real quick a Photoshop that I did on my Flankster Statue Collectors group, which if you haven't joined, do join. Reminders, I'm still selling that Optimus and Jet Wing for a phenomenal price. So contact me if interested. All right, so first check this idea out. So, this does, I would actually be pairing Jungle Hunter with Berserker, and ideally Scar with Wolf Predator 1/3. But hypothetically, we'd never got a Wolf. I would probably do Berserker and Scar and, P1 and P2 together. And this kind of does like an entire underworld theme below along with Blade. And this is just, if, when PCS does their 1/3 Celine, hypothetically, it's like that. That is also very crucial to like my future collection. I need to see PCS's Celine 1/3. I need to know how good the likeness is, how big it is, how much I love it. Because I absolutely love their Blade. Granted, it's not movie, but I still love this statue. I think it's freaking amazing. And I definitely want to get it. And it does fit down low. But, in this potential setup is like, man, that would be sick. Although, I just don't know about putting all these down low, because those two, especially like that Blade bust does not go good down low. And Marcus and Lycan bust both lose their impressive appeal being down low, as most statues do. And the Marcus and Lycan 1/3 setup is like the best duo setup ever. Godzilla vs Kong will top it, but as of right now, this is still my favorite duo. And to put that down low is like criminal. So I hate the idea of that. But if it could look good, the Lycan actually looks fine down low. It's Marcus that doesn't quite look as good. Plus he loses his presence. And his wing nearly hits the top of that. But let me show you the other photo. This is like if you did like an all bust down low. Now, Berserker bust won't fit. It's too tall. But, technically this could work. Let's just say there's no wolf. So you do P2 with the cool props bust, sideshow mask, Berserker. If we could somehow fit the sideshow bust there with the sideshow mask, you get just the sideshow jungle hunter bust. And, there's customs out there that look pretty good, but they're way expensive. I mean, heck, this one's usually $2,000, and I don't think it's worth that. I feel like it's a $1,200 bust. And I would actually, just use my other Predator mask, not the sideshow one, and then a Scar bust and mask. Scar would be easy to get, same with P2. He is hard because of how big he is. Most people don't want to ship him. I could definitely buy all of them, though, and do sort of like a ultimate, Predator 1/3 above, bust down low type of display. And I'd probably, if I did that, and let's say I did do sideshow, I would probably boost it up a little bit just to give it a little more height. Because these two, I think, are about 28 inches. And I think he's 33 to 35. Where this one's only 22, so it's quite short. So I might look into a custom instead. I mean, I know Alien FX has his for like $3,500. It's usually 32 inches tall. But I know the material is quite cheap and often breaks. It's, I think, like a very thin fiberglass. Now, his does look great. I think it's just overpriced for the cheap material it is. Plus no base. Nevertheless, this does look amazing. It's like one solidified Predator wall. Although if I did that, I would feel like having another AVP wall is a little excessive at that point. And I'm like, ooh, yeah, I don't want to have that much. Plus, I would need space for either Terminator over here or Underworld, and likely just do Terminator, and then I'd have to have a dedicated Aliens display and then a dedicated Terminator display, like let's say Alien there, Terminator there, example. Like let's say you did the life-size Endo there again, and then you did the Arnold bust in 1/3, T-1000 bust in 1/3, Endo 1/3, and Sarah Connor, whatever. You only need 2 garage shells for Aliens. Really, more like that. That's all you realistically need for Aliens. So technically, I could do Terminator right there. Life-size Endo, then Arnold, and all the other 1/3s over there. But it'd have to sort of be like that. Instead of doing like a mix right now where I'm doing AVP kind of alternating, it'd have to be 1 Predator display, 1 Terminator, 1 Alien. That's kind of how that would have to work if I went down that route. And I may even consider at that point getting a Alien Warrior life-size bust and selling XM Alien. That way each of my Aliens and each of my Predators all have a life-size bust that match. And the sucky thing is I also got like the Fugitive bust, which looks amazing, but it doesn't have a companion 1/3 unless, P1 decides to do it, Prime 1. And, we also have, of course, the Wolf bust 1/3 setup, which, ideally would be the preferred route. Instead of this, I'd actually do Wolf and Scar, with each of their cool props busts underneath and masks. And I already got his mask and everything, so it would work actually quite well. So I do like this idea quite a bit. I would just have to do a dedicated Predator, a dedicated Alien, and we would do the AVP ones here closer to the Aliens. Sort of like the Aliens are coming at them. And then that would be, him and Berserker with the bus underneath. And technically, I could boost that garage shelf up a little bit if I needed height shelf for Berserker Predator. Like, he'll fit on that shelf depth-wise, width-wise. It's just a matter of, I don't think I could fit his mask there. I'd probably have to do the mask there, then Jungle Hunter bust in 1/3. And then, realistically, I would have 1 extra shelf here. I guess you could do the Fugitive bust there. And then you could do Wolf bust and mask, Scar bust and mask with the 1/3 above. I think that is an incredibly cool idea. There's a lot of tricky things here. Like I said, because one, selling all my Predator stuff over there, let's just say outside of Wolf and the Fugitive bus, would definitely be difficult. I know XM Predator would probably only go for a like 50% retail, maybe $1,000. I think Berserker 1/4 I could maybe get 1,500, Cinemacat 2,500 to $3,000, and that's probably it. I wouldn't sell that Wolf unless P1's Wolf demolished it. And then if I sold Wolf, if P1 comes out the superior one, it's going to instantly make that not worth as much, and I might be able to only get $2,000 at that point. Instead of 3.5, the usual going rate for it. But at least in this scenario, we would have all matching Predators, matching busts, and then Aliens would kind of be similar where, we get a life-size bust of Alien Warrior, we're getting the big chap bust, where we have a dog bust, we'd have 3 Aliens, 3 busts, with all the props and heads, and then 4 Predators, all with masks and, their busts, and then I guess just one additional, fugitive bust right there. So yeah, definitely a lot to consider in this, potential setup. Of course, if I do the Terminator wall setup, which I think I've shown you guys, but I'll show you again just in case you forget. Here's the thing. I really don't want to mess up my Underworld setup because I really freaking like it. And I wanted to get Queen Alien bust, the freaking the T-Rex bust, but it won't fit in my house. Like, it won't even fit through my front door. So that is a complete no-go. Like here, for example, it was like, if we just keep this kind of how it is, like this looks good. Still, it's kind of randomish. You got multiple different displays. You have a random Predator. You got Terminator, which looks good, like half this TV's Terminator. And then you got Underworld and Blade, and then, Red Sonja Vampirella. Granted, I think this looks good, but the idea of the 4 Predators is definitely cooler. And here's kind of like if we did, let's say, a Terminator wall, doing that top shelf with all the posters and everything. I think this looks sick. And then you could technically do Alita or just keep it Mummy and Medusa. But that's kind of the idea, is putting life-size Endo right here, so I could have the arm up, arm down, Skynet above, just buy back all the pure art stuff, put the poster in the middle above the Endo 1/3. This is definitely the best look for Terminator. Now, if I wanted to go fully complete, then I would do, getting messages here. I got a tracking number. But yeah, you would want to do Sarah Connor bust in 1/3 and a bust with this, like I've sort of shown previously. And this is the other setup I'm trying to figure out, is this. Like this obviously works, but what about Bruce Wei? And then you got Monsterverse. So really, it's kind of like 3 areas in my collection that I'm really trying to perfect, if you so call it. It's like my horror wall is perfect. And I do love my AVP wall, especially how it flows, and I think it looks really good. But the Predator wall does sound amazing. And I could get Scar and P2 busts and their masks for, pretty reasonable price. I get them quite cheap, actually. The hardest one will be Jungle Hunter and Berserker bust. And then, of course, having to sell all those. And really, it's selling those to fund the bus and then having to buy the 1/3 and wait forever. It'd probably be 5 years before I could complete all 4 of those 1/3, honestly. So that's another reason I'm like, it's hard to say, folks. It's really hard to say. But as of right now, I'm still planning just to do Terminator right here until we get further news of Predators and Terminator statues and so forth. And I really want to see how this wall looks once we get, Queen Alien bust. So I do like the idea of one Alien setup, one Predator setup, and one Terminator setup, like all 3 near each other with their dedicated statues. Although I do think the mix looks good, but having them all together does look great as well. Yeah, so that's kind of it, folks. But yeah, that tracking number just got DHL link on Epona. Should arrive Wednesday next week. Well, technically this week, so July 5th. So definitely very excited for that one. But Godzilla vs. Kong is, I would say, my most anticipated of the month, and then Captain America bust. Both of which should be arriving in the next 2 weeks. And hopefully we get Queen Alien at the end of the month. But let me know what you guys think. Which setup do you like the best? Do you think keeping sort of how we have it? I mean, the thing is, as well, in any of these setups, what are we going to do about Alita? Is she going to have to go the anime room? Does she have to go a mid-room shelf, which we're trying to avoid? Or does she get sold? She is a phenomenal bust. She does look good in Terminator setup. She is, like a robot. She does look good in the anime room because she's from an anime. So she kind of goes both this room or the DBZ room, but I'm also really stretched thin on space in that room considering what I'm trying to build. So it's definitely getting very tricky. The other thing I've thought is, let's say I get Godzilla vs. Kong and let's just say it disappoints me. Like, it's not as good as I hoped. I would likely just sell Godzilla bust, Kong vs. Skullcrawler, and do Alita bust in 1/4, Khaleesi bust in 1/4 underneath and get rid of Jon Snow. Or I could do all Game of Thrones down low and do Jon Snow, add the Night King and Khaleesi bust. All Game of Thrones below, all Godzilla vs. Kong above, along with King Ghidorah. So definitely a lot to think about. We'll see how things unfold. The thing is, with a collection, it's always ever changing to really just give that perfect ideal vision. And I really do love the idea of a Predator wall, Terminator wall, and Alien wall. But I hate the idea of having to deal with the hassle of selling all my Predators and getting just raped in the aftermarket, getting half the value that they're really worth. So that alone makes me think, yeah, maybe I should stick to just that Jungle Hunter and call it a day. Or we get just Jungle Hunter and throw another Predator to the right. The thing is, to move Rotunda is also quite difficult. Like, the only place I could put it is under King Ghidorah, which affects that Khaleesi and Alita display. So definitely difficult. I guess I could always sell Rotunda. I think he goes for a lot of money, actually. If I was to sell him, I'd be like, give me $5,000. That's a freaking holy grail of Jurassic if I was to ever sell that. Anyways, folks, that is it. Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a great day.